Well, hello there. It's Christine, and today I'm going to talk about the eclipse and their energetic shifts. Just to give a bit of a background, to ancient people the world over, eclipses and comets were perceived as well, they were not perceived, they were unexpected and irregular phenomena that were often perceived as bringing bad omens that foretold death of their kings, disasters, war, pestilence, going a long way back. And even though we understand the causes today, there's a lot of talk about eclipse and eclipse season with modern astrologers, and rightly so, because there's a lot of synchronicity around eclipses that are recorded from the past. And given that astrology is a record of cycles and that cycles often repeat and anything can happen, when I get asked about the eclipse energy in relation to working with the tarot and astrology in the way I do, I sort of tend to keep things a little bit simple. So if you're wanting to sort of look at it through a lens of tarot, the solar eclipse is when the moon blocks out the future, which is the sun, and we find ourselves looking at the past, reflecting back on things that are not resolved but are still relevant to us now. And often around this energy, we often feel that we need more than we're currently receiving, and often it's rightly so, because we've seen events of people being paid poorly, that our frontline people during COVID, who were doing everything, and some of these people were the lowest paid, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. And with the eclipses being in for this year, Taurus and Scorpio aligned with the nodes, it's about property, what makes us feel secure. And with Scorpio energy, it's about deep and intense complex emotions, and often it's about overcoming the challenge of trust, be it trust in ourselves, the people around us, or even our government and leaders. With the lunar eclipse, it's when the present, which is the earth, blocks out the moon, and the future becomes more important than the past. Current affairs, breakthroughs, what we want to do, the future becomes more important than the past. And this is the cycle of the eclipse. And they teach us sometimes we need to focus on the present and the future more so than the past, and other times we need to focus on the past than the lessons from the past. And this cycle goes round and round, and that is the energy space of the eclipse. And I find, for me as a reader, people often ask me, well, what do I need to watch out for, what's going to happen, and all these sorts of things. And given that it's in the sign, as I said, of Taurus and Scorpio, around property and finances, and it's all about what makes us feel secure. And so we can get our cards out, and we can look to astrology and look to where things are in the charts, obviously, because this is a lot of tension and angst that's around us with 5, because we are constantly dealing in a whirlpool of change, and that brings its own set of tensions. So we need to look after our health with that. Changes always happening during this time, and sometimes when we get a little bit too in the future, it can create a little bit of anxiety. So it's good to bring ourselves into the now. So what is the current energy of this eclipse coming up on the 8th of November? in Taurus 16 degrees, and you can look what you have anything in Taurus and 16 degree, and it will impact a little bit more your fixed signs: Taurus, Scorpio, Leos and Aquarian. So you can look what you have in those charts with that fixed energy. And so first of all, I'm going to just have a look at the card and take a card from the top about our day-to-day finances. And we have the Fool. This is what's presented itself to us today. This card tells us that we need to possibly lighten up and look to the future, and not to have fear about what is coming, but also know what's going to be important in our life, that we are on the precipice of change. We all have skills in our life, skills in our little bag of life. We have support from pets and loved ones, and we have the sun shining on us and giving us a sense of optimism. And perhaps we need to lighten up a little bit about this, because what could come next is that we will find that we are coming through it. Change is coming, and we live in a whirlpool full of change, and we can choose to be in charge of the change. And the Fool is in charge. He is on the precipice and looking up to the optimism of the sky, but he hasn't jumped off yet in this Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And I'll leave us to ponder that one. So I'm going to take the next card, which is the Scorpio card, about what's coming to an end. And here we have the Four of Swords. What's coming to an end is that we are no longer going to be able to be asleep at the wheel. We are no longer, what's going to be important to us is that we have that meditation each day and help us to deal with change that's happening, help us see the lamp and not the light shade, and also be able to deal with things. Meditation is going to be very important, whether it's just simple breath work, some time out each day, getting that rest that we need. It's going to be important in our life, but we also are not going to be able to be asleep at the wheel as some people may have, because we were going to have to be more proactive in that, because that is what's going to change. And this card, I'll just take a third card just as an overall energy for us, or I'll look at the cards on the bottom. And we have the Seven of Wands, and we are going to have to, this card has presented ourselves and tell us that it's going to be important in our life not to get overwhelmed with change, and to take things one thing at a time. And that, as I said here, we have the life skills in our bag of tricks. Humans are survivors, and we can achieve and tackle things provided we get the rest that we need, and we plan, and we also tackle each issue coming up one thing at a time. We do not have to do it all. And this is a card that came up in a reading the other day. It's coming up quite a bit. Is don't be overwhelmed thinking that you need to do anything, because what's going to come next is you're going to be on top of the situation, and you're going to be able to take things into control, provided that it's one step at a time, and that you get this rest and that you need, and to use meditation and mind focus and centering, and also we need to lighten up. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye for now.